Hi, this is Reese from CreataCRM, and today I'm going to show you some creative PBX stuff and how we can work smarter. Now, a lot of key things we find with CreataCRM is that people are trying to get their head around the flexibility, how you can work. And as I've mentioned in a few videos, is that you have all these devices that you can actually use. And we're going to probably show you how they work and explain a bit more detail on how it works. Now, CreataCRM and CreataPBX is in the cloud. So for example, we put our PBX in the cloud. That pretty much does magic. So that routes calls, it does time groups, it does transfer of calls, it manages all the elements of the routing of the phone calls. So PBX is like we consider it as a flow through the call. You can actually program it to say if this, do this, if that, do this scenario. So it's just an intelligent programming language, and that's probably why software guys like us are coming into this market, because it really is just a logical process with coders just to push through the devices. And people like us are coming into the market because we can probably use our skills to do a bit better these days. Now, how it works is that you have any device, and it's called an endpoint. An endpoint is something like you've got a mobile phone, you've got a PC or Mac, you've got tablets, and then you've got the traditional stuff, which is those handsets that we all know about. And then other things that people don't consider is that you can actually have these portable devices that you didn't know about. So you really can start seeing how you can be more flexible in the office. So for example, you get these handsets, we know about that, and you can dial through, and probably my preferred option is the handset. It's easier to use, you can have the headsets, and it's the flexible way to work still that's more comfortable. Then when you're on the road, you will probably use these devices, which is the tablets, PCs, Macs, and mobile phones. That means that you can receive phone calls. So, you know, when you're not in the office and it rings through, you can actually pick it up on your phone. Now, sure, you can transfer the call, but if you have staff and all of a sudden they go to lunch, the call goes through, you can probably pick up that they're at lunch and you can just pick the call up. All these different flexibilities on that. These things here are great for warehouses, we find, where you can just, or at home for example, you just have it as a home device where you can just have, these are called bases, and these are like a Yearling W52s. You could put them in your house, home, everywhere, or in office warehouses, and you can pick them up at any time and make phone calls. Now, the difference that we have in this is we can probably work all around the world and change our devices to our location, and I'll show you how this works. So in the CreataCRM, I'm going to the phone HUD, and I have multiple phones. Now at the moment you can see I have a 1006, which is the desktop that I have. I have a PC phone, I have a mobile phone section on here as well, which I think is 1002, and it goes through all these other devices like my home device, so I can work at home. So if I change it to any one of these things, I can see that I've already got existing logs that I have done. So that means that you can call through and hold the logs there to type it down later, especially if you're on a mobile phone or a PC and you're just dialing through, and then you can come back to a better experience, which is a PC version of it, and type in a bit of the long history note that you've got there. So I'll show you how this works. So the traditional method is to dial on your phone. So I'm just going to change it to my home phone, and I'll press the call, and I have the ability to dial, and I can say auto dial that, and it'll automatically dial and call my mobile phone. It's ringing through. I answer that, and I take the phone call, and I can make notes on it as we go. Now I don't have to make notes, I can just continue going through, and I go, oops, I have forgotten, I'm just going to end the call and stop there, and it takes those elements out. Next, I can reverse that, where I can go into my phone HUD and I can change my extension to 2002, and I can dial the office, and I can call, and I can actually call the office, and I'll pick up that phone, and I'm just going to mute that, and I can now make notes on that. So right now I can make notes on 2002. So I'm just going to say 1002. So there you go. So that's on a different extension altogether. Now I'm going to end that phone call, and it's dismissed it from there. And I can continue on. Then I change location again to the phone HUD to 1002, and that is, no, 1001, and that's my desktop phone. So I've changed locations again. Now I am going to call my mobile. I press dial. I send the call out, and that will dial through. It's calling my mobile phone. I am just going to put everything in mute so it doesn't feedback. So I can then say I am dialing from 1001. Okay, so I've entered the call there and it logs it. Now let's go through that. I have actually on my desktop called, and I've got received phone calls from here. I've taken phone calls from here and I can dismiss it. I have made phone calls from 1002, and there it is, and I can dismiss that. I can make extra notes on that, dismiss it, and then again I have made phone calls to 1001, and I can dismiss that. So what that shows you, that you can actually call on any device. So what we show you in the diagram, with Creator, you can go and dial on any device and go back later into the system. So you can dial on your desktop phone, your portable, your mobile phone, your laptops, all these devices. And that gives it flexibility, as I showed you in the last map, is that you can then be free to call anywhere in the world. Now the key thing on that is that yes, you have Skype systems that you can dial through, and that's really a good collaboration tool. But what we're talking about is actually integrating better with your customers, and dial through them as you are in their country, but you're actually outside the country, and go through it. You can route calls into your mobile phone to take it, so you can be working in America and people call you in the Australian number, and you can pick that call up and take the calls as you are in Australia. So you're really removing yourself, destroying those boundaries of the world, where you can answer calls anywhere. You can move staff to, for example, in Asia, take the calls. You can be in New Zealand and receive calls as well. So it really opens the door. Not only that, it logs every single call that you do, and you can make notes later. So it's not just simply taking calls, it's actually having better relationships with those people, making notes on it, and taking notes in a later date as well. Now, I hope that helps you how you can work smarter with Creator, and if there's any questions, please don't hesitate to call us up.